about ownership in America. Ownership. And I'm going to try to, I'm going to do my best to try to just stay on topic, and be as brief as possible. Just want to, quickly drop it and be out. You know what I mean? I don't want to belabor issues. I don't want to go over things that I've said before. That's not, and I'm going to try to remember to swing back around at the end and tell you how I see is the best way forward, right? And how you can become a part. Okay, I'll try to remember to do that. Okay, but ownership in America, it's a very interesting word. It's a very interesting word. I think that I've mentioned that there's 1.9 billion acres of land in the contiguous United States of America, and 98.6% of that land is owned by Europeans. 98.6. Forget what the natives own. They own like 1%. We own less than a fraction of a percent. It's owned, deeded, right? You can't own it. Okay, there's clauses on it that they put on there for hundreds of years. The same kind of clauses. We can build trusts. We can build these kinds of things, and we can put no blood, no sale, and we can do some of the different things that have been done over time. But I want to just kind of speak to what ownership looks like today, right? Well, it requires that I go back a little bit in history, and I'll do that, okay? First of all, the middle class in America was produced when veterans returning home from World War II were given home loans. There was no middle class before that. There was no great boom in home ownership, right? The homes were out there, people couldn't afford them. The jobs weren't paying them. So to the victor goes the spoils, the war. This is why wars came into play. But it created prosperity. And so the VA loans were produced at that point. And that is what produced the middle class. It suddenly allowed all those veterans that returned from WW2 to take advantage of those VA loans, buy their homes, move their families into different communities. It allowed them to segment themselves. It allowed them to have social mobility, right? The American dream. It provided social mobility. Well, those VA loans were denied to Black men that were returning from World War II. They were denied. They didn't give them to them, right? There was a small percentage of them that may have gotten them, but the overwhelming majority were denied those. So when the middle class was created, your class position never changed. It was still at the very bottom rung. You're the only people in America or in America that have never traded your compassion, empathy, humanity, morality, love, honor, courage. You never traded these things for social mobility. Everybody else did. They came in, they changed their hair color, changed their names, changed the way they spoke. They did anything that they could to assimilate and be accepted into the society per chance to enjoy social mobility. And each and every single one of them did it. You have been unable to do so, okay? We're going to highlight another very important distinction. There are those who are going to say, I'm indigenous. Again, my DNA says Han Chinese. It's not possible that you're more indigenous than I. There was no population on this continent until 50,000 years ago. People walked across the straits and populated it, okay? But that being said, the fact is that we exist as the only people, I'm speaking to my father's side, we exist as the only people in the United States of America that do not arrive here voluntarily. We didn't choose to come. Somebody said something to me about, I was reading a comment today, and they said something about Black immigrants have a pass. Black immigrants have a pass coming into America. And that's not really true. Again, what happens is you have to kind of dissect the thing before you can say whether or not it is true. It is not that they are given a pass. It is that any people that come to the United States of America, or any people in the past 400 years that have come to the United States of America, have voluntarily come. That is a huge distinction. They came because they chose to. They had a support system in place. They made a plan. They knew specific steps necessary in order to be able to legally get here. They did everything that they could. Their families supported them and sent one over at a time. These are the kinds of things that happen. So each and every single person in the United States of America and their families came here willingly. They voluntarily came here. That separates us from every single person in the United States. So now, it perplexes me as I listen to mine talking about throwing their voices into a melting pot relative to a black agenda. A black agenda, right? Again, y'all gonna make me go further than I meant to. But it perplexes me when I hear my people sound like those people, right? Because in order to do so, you must completely overlook and eliminate your own personal history and experiences. You are not like them. You're not like them, right? There is a complete difference. I had a conversation with a woman today. She was talking about equality. I said freedom was a goal, and she said equality and freedom. And I said, well, now, wait a second. And anybody answer this if you can, tell me. I'm open. I'm not, hey, look, I ain't never on some, oh, I'm great. Nah. I could be wrong. Anybody elucidate for me, what exactly do we gain if we gained equality? What's the benefit to us? What does that sound like? See, we've become comfortable using ambiguous words that everybody can agree on, right? Support our troops. We use these words that everybody can agree on, but we don't distill or define what do those words mean. So what is equality? I said freedom, she said equality, and I'm asking, what does that mean? What does that entail? If you give me equality, what do I get? A Kool-Aid package? What do I get for my equality? Can you mandate morality or legislate love? Can you make it such that when I go in to a loan officer, first of all, he ain't white, but then second of all, he won't use my skin against me in making a determination as to whether or not I can get finance, right? Will it cause a medical professional to no longer see my skin and allow that to affect the level of care and service that they give to me? Can the equality ensure that the police officer that stops me for perhaps a righteous infraction of the law, maybe I got a broken tail light, maybe, right? Maybe one of these things is true, but can equality ensure that when that man stops me, he doesn't use my skin as a means to be afraid of me and respond with hostile intent? Can that happen? Can equality do that? What about the racial equity? What is that? Again, define it, right? You got people running around talking all these words. Oh, I love Kamala, she wears Timbs. I hate Trump, I hate him, all that bullshit, whatever, right? Okay. But when you distill what our people are saying, I don't care who you're talking about, right? Rolling the roly-poly, right? Whoever, I don't care who it is, right? Distill the words that they're saying. Words are very important. Words are very important. And man, I didn't mean to go this far, but the truth is, and the thing that people never ask themselves is, when and why did language come into being? When and why did language come into being? It came into being for nefarious purposes. Humans communicated without language for millions of years. The Dogon to this day maintain no written language, right? People have existed without language and were able to communicate for millions of years. Why did language come into being? It came into being to tell you that this is not a pen. No matter what your eyes see, I'm telling you, it's something different, and it allows me to do magic, right? It allows me to make things disappear in front of your eyes. Words were here for a trick, but it is important that when we use them and when they are used, we come to a baseline understanding of what that word means, right? Equality. What do I gain? It sounds real great. What do I gain? How do you enforce it? How do you measure equality in the society? What does that mean, right? All of a sudden, everybody lives happily ever after. Again, that's not a tangible. Neither is equity. Neither is justice. Neither is nation. We can drill through each of these words. Look up the etymology of each of these words. Nation came into being the same time. Basically, the word God came into being. God is a Germanic word. It came into being 500 years ago, the same time a chattel slave came into being, the same time nation came into being, the same time justice came into being, the same time they made up all of these words that are in our mouths is when they made chattel slaves. Look them up, right? So they got us walking around using these words saying, we want this. Wait, and you don't even know what you're asking for. You don't even know what you're asking for. And the reason being is because they created the definition and they created its application, right? And they have the ability to apply or deny any of those to you, right? So you want to get nationhood. Who are you going to get to apply for a nation? Who stamps it and says, yes, you're a nation? That is your master. Man, I hate to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's so sophomoric where we are stuck, the conversations that we are having, WAP. Bruh, like these things are so sophomoric and they're trapping us. They are keeping us in low level energy so that we can never be the high level being that we are supposed to. There were 7 different life forms created in the pyramid. Again, I don't mean to go this far, but when you look at the pyramid, I'll share a tracing that was done for me in the pyramid. And it really basically kind of depicted the pharaonic order. The pharaonic order is what was perverted and turned into the Masonic order, right? The original Mason was the bricklayer. So the pharaonic order was the mystery Kemetic sciences was the pharaonic order, okay? And the depiction demonstrated not 32 steps, not 32 levels, but 36, 360 degrees, right? 36 steps. The 36 steps were represented on the other side with 7 steps. The 7 steps on that side were representative of the various life forms on the planet Earth, going from the lowest life form, which was flat on the ground. It was a man laying on the ground, flat on the ground, which was worm, up to the highest life form, which was high priest, right? And the 36 steps or degrees represented the transition from each of the life forms, beginning at the lowest and reaching and attaining the highest. We can never attain the highest because we are riddled and saddled by the low-level bullshit that traps us repeating and regurgitating the same words that somebody else just said. And so people come into conversation with me and they'll say these oft repeated words. And again, I'm supposed to tiptoe through the tulips just because this person doesn't know who I am, right? Because somebody doesn't know me, I'm supposed to listen to this. And I don't know, I don't know what's expected because I can't. I was engaged in a conversation where somebody was talking about woke people are not the smartest in the world and blah, blah, blah. And I asked what was woke? What's woke, right? So if I say I'm a mechanic, there are a series of disciplines that I have become skilled in. There are some certifications, right? There are those things that would serve as criteria that would allow me to say I'm a mechanic. If a person said that they were a lawyer, it means that they passed the bar. There is verifiable criteria associated with one being able to say they are that. If one is a doctor, again, there is a discipline, there is a history, there is a practice that has been in play that allows us to be able to say that person is a doctor, right? Show me the criteria for woke, right? If you claiming woke, show me what that criteria is. I mean, what is it, right? What is it? What is the common criteria that we can use that allows us to say that a person is woke or not? It's not. We're playing fucking sandbox games. This is sophomoric word games, right? And we walking around using these funny words that don't mean shit, no cap, right? All this, but we're not saying anything. There's zero substance in our words. Just repeating what's been said, repeating what's popular. This is it, right? And the problem is that when we do so, guess what? We lose two different ways, because you have something that you were supposed to be giving whoever it is that you're speaking to, and you're withholding it because you speak in dumb, right? Well, and they speak a different version of dumb, so they're not getting from you what you're supposed to be giving, and in turn, they're not able to move forward and give that, and as a result of that, we stay trapped in some low-level bullshit, right? Trying to figure it out, okay? So, again, I didn't want to go too far, and I done threw the javelins at a whole lot of y'all already. I mean, that's all right. What? You can't beat me. What? So I'm sorry, but here's the point. Here's the point. Okay. The fact is that ownership. When we talk ownership in America, right? Okay, so I own my house, right? Nice house, you know, I'm making my payments, fine. I'll pay it off eventually, right? And we call that my house, right? But okay, even when I pay this house off, right? I'm still gonna owe taxes on it. If I should expand it, if I revitalize my kitchen or my bathrooms, what's going to happen is that my taxes on the property are going to increase. The value of it increases, yeah, but the taxes increase. Okay. And I need to keep those taxes up. I need to pay those taxes at all points. I cannot let those taxes go. Furthermore, because I'm within the city limits, I am required to use the utilities that are available to me. Right? I have to use the utilities that are available to me, okay? I further have to maintain insurance on my property, right? And so all of these things, even though I own it, even though it's paid off, all of these things are mandated. It is a prerequisite that I pay them. Okay. So Madam C.J. Walker's house sold a couple of years ago, and the seller's name was not Walker. The seller's name, did you see R2-D2? He turned and looked. Wait a minute, what? That's right. The seller's name was not Walker. What that simply means is that no matter what, the house never loses. They're going to reclaim it, whatever it is. Whatever it is, they're going to reclaim it, and that is how America works. It works by drinking your energy to make it self-solvent. So if I have one single penny, right? Just one single copperback, and I exchange that, a percentage of that copperback goes to this system, no matter what. And everything you do, they take a bite and a bigger bite, and when you go spend one, they take another bite, and when you get paid, they take a bite. And so what happens is, when we talk about going and buying a town in America, because we can, what happens is you still fall under the jurisdiction of the United States of America. Go ahead, somebody tell me, we got to form a nation. Okay. You still fall under the jurisdiction of the United States of America. Now, you can create an asset trust, right? And you can lock that land up, right? You can create a series LLC, which is what the Ledge Group is. You can create a series LLC, and you make every single one of the properties on that ground an LLC. That produces limited liability. They can't be sued by an individual. They can still be attached by way of the IRS or government entity. You clean that up by putting it under an asset trust. The asset trust cannot be approached or touched. Then you lock everything up with a living will. Absolutely. You can lock that land up, okay? Here is the problem. The problem is that land will still be serviced by a supply chain that keeps your enemy stronger. It will still be serviced by sanitation systems that keeps your enemy stronger. It will still utilize all of the services. It will be under the mandate of educational board. You will still pay taxes. Every single thing you do and every second in your life will still be monetized and making stronger the system against you. There is nothing that you can do. You are born in a casino and the house never loses. Never loses. It is mathematically impossible to buy black, buy the block, buy a city, and somehow think that while they print the currency, while they set the interest rate, and while they benefit from absolutely every single time you flip one penny, it is mathematically impossible for you to get to your goals. You are not winning. You are losing more slowly. That is what's happening, right? So there is no such thing as ownership. In a place where you can buy a house, but you will never buy the land, and 98.6% of the land, percent of the land is deeded to white folk, that means you are a transgenerational renter, not an owner. You're a transgenerational renter in somebody else's hell. Again, how do you make a slave? How do you make a slave? You take the father's name and the mother's tongue, right? You take the language and the name, and then you make that individual completely dependent for everything. Lure, mark, reward. The same way I train my dog, lure, mark, reward, right? Using food as the primary motivator, using mortality as the primary motivator. You make the individual 100% dependent upon you for every essential need. Do that over 20 generations, and you have a people that are left bankrupt. You have a people that are left believing that their only possible way out is using what has been placed in front of them, lure, mark, reward, right? They will never define wealth for themselves. They will use the definition that has been imposed on them that enriches the system that produced that definition, lure, mark, reward, right? And so, again, unless we begin to define these things for ourselves, then we will continue to be a hamster on a wheel and chasing our tail. There's no possible way for you to be born inside a casino, them print the chips and own the chips, and you beat them. You can't do it. The house never loses, right? So that does not work. What is the answer? Yeah, everybody has seen me. You've seen the work that I do. You see where I am. We are about to launch an initiative. We've come across some pretty amazing capacity, and we're about to launch an initiative that will allow the Ledge Group to be able to start doing some things right here on the North American continent in the form of housing and businesses right here and right now, right? This is happening right now, okay? So I'm very, very pleased that we're able to do that, that there is finally a method by which I can apply this same model in America. The reason it doesn't apply so easily in America is because you don't find an acre of land for $40. I can find that in Africa all day long. You're not going to find that in America. The acreage that you're going to find in America is going to cost you $400,000, $500,000, and you're never going to own that land, and you're never going to own mineral rights on it, right? So again, the things that we do and the model that we used was not portable into America until just recently. And again, we're going to launch that. You're going to see there's an invitation to be a part of that, to work with us, understand what it is that we're doing and how this works, and we're gonna bang on this. So I'm very pleased to say that with all of the work that we've done in Africa. I've heard people saying for years to me, well, that's great for Africa. What about us in America? Bruh, every single one of our members is in America. We're trying to build freedom. We're trying to produce what we need, what our babies will need 1,000 generations into the future. Forget whether or not you get a birthday cake this year. It's about generations into the future and building backwards from that need, right? So the question has always been, it would be fielded, why do you build in Africa? Because I can own the land in Africa. I can build one time and not pay them. I can keep from enriching them. It's a way of beating the casino. How do you win a thermonuclear war? You don't fight, right? That's how you win. That's the smartest move in regards to a thermonuclear war. Don't play the game. Okay. So the fact is, and what Marcus Garvey was looking to do was not necessarily leave America. He was not a fool. This was a very, very intelligent man. He wasn't talking about simply leaving America. What he was talking about doing was installing siphons in America that we might, instead of having our money circulate less than an hour in our communities, actually harness it and send it out and use it. It's taxed already. They've already gotten their piece. Now we use it and we build our own. That's what he was planning to do. He further knew that everybody wasn't going to go to Africa. And that's the fact still to this day. Everybody won't go. Everybody won't go to Mexico. I wish you would. I believe that what cometh is what is supposed to. See, I can't live a life raping, bringing horror into the lives of other people and expect that I'm going to have a happy life and flourish. It doesn't work like that. The road that you leave behind dictates what you're going to see ahead. And so if 100% of this nation's history has been atrocity, hatred, disconnection, what in the world would make you think that the norm now, if they've embraced that for 400 years and 100% of its history, apathy, hatred, disconnection, rape, genocide, right, and horror, what makes you think today, because they sang Kumbaya, suddenly they're whole, connected, empathetic? How would that work? Are they not human? Yeah, they are human. And this was practiced, it was embraced, it was handed down, it was cultivated, and it was passed down for 400 years. The only possible conclusion for a human coming on the other side of that, imagine, wait a minute, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You have a case where, so first of all, marriage on the plantation wasn't done for love, right? It wasn't done for love. It was done for land and control. So a father would give his 13-year-old daughter to another landowner and slave owner for them to marry, have children, and combine their lands, right? This is how marriages happened in the antebellum South and throughout America, slave-owning states, okay? So that man didn't love that woman, and that little girl didn't love that man, right? Suddenly, she was taken off to a plantation with a monster. She don't know this dude, he don't know her. Cool. They go away. They go into the plantation house. He's got slaves, right? Okay. She gets her space in there, and this is the way they live. They have a baby, right? She procreates. She is not trusted to breastfeed that baby. Okay? The breastfeeding happens from the women in the back, our families, right? Okay. She doesn't prepare the meals for her child. She does not give her child the education. She does not teach that child love and compassion and empathy. She doesn't do that. That's not her job. She's not trusted to do that. She is not trusted to do that. Furthermore, she has slipped into a depression because she's been taken away from everything that she's known. She has no friends. She is isolated on this plantation with a bunch of black people that really don't like her, right? It's a wrap for her. There's nothing coming out of her head that's worth anything right now, right? So what happened was those children were being raised by Auntie Jemima and Uncle Ben, right? They're being raised by them. They're playing with the children in the back, right? Story. This is history. They're playing with the black children. Okay. At some point, 6, 7 years old, the father goes and takes his son, who has been breastfed by that woman, who has been reared by those people, who has been educated by those people, who has been provided with the basis of normalcy, the only basis that they'll ever know. Isn't that crazy? The only basis of normalcy that they will ever actually know outside of the facade that white supremacy had put up was with the slaves, and that was abhorrent. That was abnormal still, right? Just, this is a twisted story right here. Okay, so now the father around 7 years old goes and takes that son and he says, now we're gonna teach you what life is like. Now we're gonna teach you what it is, right? And he shows his son the castration of a boy or a man that boy knows. That child knows him, right? Has a relationship with him. So what will happen most naturally is a child will resist that. That is abhorrent. To see that man castrated, to see that woman raped that he knows, right? This is personal. So the child initially will resist this, but there is reward associated with acceptance and there is chastisement associated with denial of that practice. And so over time, the boy acquiesces and determines, as his father said, this is normal. And they did this for 20 generations. 400 years they did this. You're not talking about, when you say equal, I want to be equal to that. See, my family didn't trade honor, empathy, compassion, love, connection. We didn't trade these things, right? They did. I'm not seeking to be equal. And in fact, I don't believe that anybody could ever reach a place where they could call themselves equal to us. We're the beacon in this world. We are the only innocent people on this planet Earth, having committed no crimes against humanity and having committed no crimes against nature based on the circumstance of our captivity in this condition. So you're not equal. Don't, before you start throwing words around, let's be very clear. There's not a man on this planet equal to us. There's not a people on this planet. There is not a condition within human history that has existed to the extreme that the condition that we have lived through has. Nobody has ever been released into their captor's house and stayed there, took their names, took their languages, and took their cues from those same people that had previously captured them. Never in human history has that happened. So again, I said I was going to do this quick. Look, quick turn long. And again, it was only, I wanted to speak to ownership. I wanted to speak to the fact that I see my brothers and sisters buying land in Georgia. I applaud it. I applaud it because it requires some courage for you to say, yo, you know what? We need to do our own. But the fact is, you're not doing your own. The major lesson learned, it doesn't matter if you can point to Black Wall Street, the major lesson learned. If you can't speak to the lesson learned, shut up and don't try to do it again. Until you can do the lesson learned on every action, then you're not ready to move forward. What was the lesson learned in Black Wall Street? The lesson learned is if you build your utopia among 100 million people, that practice that history that I just described, then the only way that your utopia can exist is on the good graces of the most apathetic, disconnected, hate-filled humans history has ever seen, that has broken every treaty that they made with the natives on this land. It is to count on them to have enough grace, morality, humanity, in order to let your utopia flourish. That is not something that you will tie your generations to. That is not what you should do. You owe your children, you owe your progeny far more than that. This is not what you should allow, go forward capacity. When we listen to the people that are speaking about the various political system, and what the assumption is that the very best we can do as human beings is be subservient to other human beings in perpetuity. We can't possibly do it for ourselves, massa. I ain't got a thought in my head, massa. Ain't no way in the world. I got to defer to you, massa, right? I couldn't do it for myself, so I'm gonna acquiesce. I'm going to sign my children up in perpetuity to forever stand at your rotten table begging for crumbs rather than picking up a hammer and building my own shit. And then mine will speak to me as if this staunch position relative to politics and being able to talk like them, maybe get you a little white wig that you can put on, makes you something more than a super nigger, right? That makes you something more than that, huh? Malcolm told a story about a house hand and a field hand. You see, when the house started to burn down, the house hand did his best to save that house. He ran around and he voted, and he ran around and he canvassed, and he ran around and did voter registration, and he said, Biden, Harris, we're gonna put this house out, right? The field hand says, let it burn. The field hand says, let it burn. And today we are in a position where we think the revolutionary step, right? The revolutionary step is to be the house nigger. And they're walking around teaching you. Listen to everybody. They're walking around teaching you how to be a better house nigger. Damn. And then we'll say something about Malcolm. Like, you have no idea. I wish we were face to face. Serious. For you to say something about Malcolm and not really understand what that man was teaching, bruh, we'll have words. You hear me? It's gonna go past words. If you don't understand that man, then I suggest you study him, okay? He said freedom. Each of our leaders said freedom over the last 200 years. And today, we don't say that. We say equality. We say all of these different things. Again, I went further than I intended to, okay? Again, April 7th, 1792 was when the first currency in North America was produced. That currency was given value by breeding every 13-year-old for a century prior, until she could no longer reproduce as a common method of business. This was normal business. The first capital in capitalism was you. The first commodity on the stock market was yours. So every single thing they have us thirsting for was produced in our blood, and we don't even know it. We don't even know it. And so we walk around thirsting what they have thrown up. You see, they're physical beings, and they're masters of that physical space. So they control you through that physical mastery. And everything that you see the frequency manipulation. You see absolutely everything thrown at you is physical because they are masters in that space. So they trap you in the physical because they don't have levels of beyond that, okay? So they trap you in this physical space looking for that dollar. Wait a minute. Again, every single penny that you ever get, you will trade for food, clothing, shelter, water, healthcare, security, sanitation, education, utilities, right? Every single dollar you get, you will trade for those. If you produce those things, let me tell you something. If you produce your own food, water, clothing, shelter, healthcare, security, sanitation, education, guess what? Your philosophy will be found in the production. Your religion will be found in the doing. Your purpose will be found in the doing. Your mate will be found in the doing. Your love will be found in the doing. Your self-respect, your self-pride, your self-esteem will be found in the doing. And none of those things can you find with a dollar. You hear me? The dollar cheats you. You see? The dollar cheats you. You can't find your self-respect there. You can't find your dignity there. You can't find the respect of your woman in a dollar. This is the wedge. This is how they did this. And we're stuck on this. We're stuck on this, not getting it, not able to define these things. I only come to highlight it, right? I come to highlight these things that we are taking as truisms, and then we're building upon them and hoping that somehow doing the same thing will result in a different impact in the end, right? I'll tell you what, you know who I am. You want to know the answer? The answer is we pool funds. We build businesses. We put those businesses in each other's names. So what are you interested in? You're interested in security? Awesome. We'll open up a security company. You run that. Your family runs that. You manage that. You do the books. Your business. We support you, right? You want to do, I don't care what it is, right? I don't care what it is. What the Ledge Group does is you come in, you pay your membership fee, you sign your NDA, you sign your pledge of commitment. Your membership fee goes to open businesses. So come in with a plan. Come in with a project plan. And when you pay your membership fee, that fee will go right back to your plan and fuel you, plus you're a member. These are some of the details to try to help you understand what this is, or how it is. But again, on a very rudimentary level, simply find on Facebook the Grand Rising, right? Find the Grand Rising. There's a couple of imposters out there. Go on in there and ask them if they built a maternity ward. If they haven't, they ain't us, right? Go ask them if they dug wells or own tow trucks and recovery services and resorts, and ask them if they have done these things without loans or debts. Ask them. If they have not, they are not us. Find the Grand Risings. Request entry into the group. There, you need to have a profile picture. Security is going to go through your background. Security is going to go through your background. If they cannot verify you, you will not be allowed in. It is important that we place screen doors in place so that we can ensure at the end of the day, what we're looking to do is we're looking to build a community. And we need to validate that we want you as a part of our community, right? And so as a result of that, there are screen doors necessary in order to determine whether or not, in fact, we want you there, yeah? So what you do is you make sure you have a picture on your profile. You request access to the Grand Rising room. There are 3 questions that you must answer in order to gain entry. Security will do their thing. Be patient. They will do their thing. And if appropriate, they will allow you in. Now, when you get in, read the description, right? It's over on the right-hand side. Read the description. Look at the files section. You can scroll back to the day that this movement was begun, when the Grand Risings actually opened, and you can see everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. You can see the people that got mad at me. You can see the people that were once a part of this, stepped away from it, and you can go see them on the side lamenting the fact that they are no longer a part, and applauding the strides that we've made. So once you've gotten into the Grand Risings, I suggest you are in there. You will find that our executive directors are in that group. You'll find that the 75 members of the certified Ledge group are in that group. You can ask any question that you have. I suggest you come up to speed. Don't simply join anything. Don't join anything. Come up to speed. What we do, how we do, right? Where we are. and how this works, right? And again, as I've said, you don't step up to the plate every time and hit a home run. But what we have done is we've produced a formula that works, and it's proven, it's demonstrated. In my mind, the definition of success is duplicatable. Can you do it over and again? It's one thing if you can walk up to the bowling alley and knock those pins down with the first time, but can you do it 10 times? That is success, duplicatable. And so we can duplicate this over and over, and we can do it anywhere on the planet Earth, and it works. Okay? So I suggest you come figure out who we are. Come figure out how we work. Hey, at the end of the day, if you determine that you don't want to join, don't join. But take enough time to learn the formula. I give it to you freely. I give it to you freely. Take enough time to learn the formula and implement it for yourself. Ask me questions. I'll help you. There's no competition. It's amazing how much progress we can make when nobody cares who gets the credit. If we cross the river alone together, the alligator cannot eat us. So there's no competition. I will give you the formula. You take that formula and you modify it and you use it and you build. You don't have to join us. I suggest we've come a long way, baby. We've come a long way. We've done a lot of work. Why wouldn't you join us? You can take it for free if you want. But I would say, come, join. First, ask your questions. First, be very clear as it relates to what it is that we do, how it is that we do, where it is that we do, and ask every possible question. Be completely confident and sure that you're willing to join and work with us. Roll up your sleeves, man, and let's bang on this. Okay. Again, in my estimation, there is only one solution. That is to build our own without enriching them. That is what Marcus's plan was. That is what Malcolm's plan was. It was to find ways of circulating their income without benefiting them. So when we pay a membership fee, your money has already been taxed. You worked for it. It's been taxed already. So the smartest thing that we could do is get it out. Get it out of the country. Okay? Get it safely somewhere that it builds your, hey, look, that is the solution. Further, to install siphons, to find ways to put hooks into place. So as long as America is standing, we are, we're doing, hey, we reverse what they did to us, man. That's all I'm saying. That's what Marcus was saying. You reverse what they did to us, okay? I'm going to install those hooks. That way, as long as her economy is solvent, we're drinking. You hear me? We're drinking from that. And so where it comes to the coffee, they're addicted to coffee. Let 3 days without coffee go, and these people are jumping out of buildings. They're addicted to it. That's why we import it. We want control of those things that they are addicted to. I don't need to be your master. I need to master what you're addicted to. See? And so what that means is, again, we install those hooks. We install those things into America that allows us to continue to take those resources and build for us wherever we are. As I said, my DNA says that King Kamehameha, the reason he's an African is because he came from me. If I need to claim land in Hawaii, then we'll claim land in Hawaii, huh? My DNA brought those people to Central America, to South America, to North America. The only reason that I would leave this continent is because it is filled with bed bugs and lice. And the only way that you deal with bed bugs and lice is you smother them. You allow them to die out. Let them run their course. They got a poison that they ingested, and it must run its course. There's nothing that you can do to fix that, man. There is nothing that you can do to stop what must happen. They're degrading physiologically, mentally, physically. They are degrading, and it is because of ingesting a cancer for 400 years and supping on that as if it was normal. It's killing them. I don't have to lift my hand, and I don't have to stain my lips relative to what is coming. It's natural. It's universal. What I have to do is make sure that we can flourish. So when it happens, it said, the next time it would be by fire. Well, fire purifies. Fire turns everything to ash. That ash becomes a very healthy grow medium for the earth. So where the topsoil has been depleted, while this nation has been depleted, while you see ferocity in the hurricanes and the tornadoes and diverse areas where earthquakes are happening and crazy wildfires and all these things happening. All of this is happening because there is a disease that must be purged, right? It's not my job. It's not my hand that does it. They have called it to themselves. The appropriate measure is step away, let that man get what he's supposed to get. Make sure that you can flourish, and when that's done, we come back. That's fine. I'm not opposed to that. What I am opposed to is standing too close to somebody that is about to get the retribution that they're supposed to get. I am opposed to our children standing around waiting to see how degraded humanity can be. Right? I'm opposed to us standing and hoping that morality will overtake the apathy that was cultivated for 400 years, hoping and praying that they turn into humane individuals. For what? For what? What do I gain if I make that man moral? What do I gain if we make them more humane? What do we gain? At the end of the day, no matter what happens, we still stand at his rotten table begging for crumbs. What can you give me better than my own table being built where I provide my own food? So there is nothing. There is absolutely no other answer. All answers lead to standing at that man's table begging for something. All of these answers. There's one: build our own. We've already begun the process. We have already put works in that cannot be, we got 100-year guarantees on our buildings. They ain't going nowhere. Generation after generation after generation will be served by what we have built. It ain't going nowhere, right? We've already left a footprint on this planet Earth. And I suggest we're just getting warm. Hear me? So we can talk, we can debate, we can do all those different things. Let me tell you, I got a hammer. And I got a spare hammer to my left. Grab a hammer and begin to beat the wall down with me. That is what you do. That is the appropriate. You got a disagreement. You don't think, hey, you don't like the way I get down. Look, tell me that while you working. I'll respect it. Outside of that, you just bumping your gums. You hear me? Tell me that while we working. I'll hear it. I'll respect it. Outside of that, you bumping your gums. All right? So, and again, like I said, this was a short one, ain't it? I didn't mean to, spend too much time in this place, in this space. But my hope is, again, that I have said something that is helpful in some way and sparks kind of the forward motion, the place where we need to be as a people. And that is truly my goal here. So again, I'm gonna back out now. It has been my pleasure. Again, I hope that there was some benefit to the conversation. I know R2 loved it. So, all right, peace.